Good morning. Happy Friday. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. Can you believe that? It's Friday. It's going to be a good, productive weekend. We're going to get a lot done. A lot of people are going to go look at houses, need to be pre approved. A lot of offers will be made. People start getting ready to go back to school. Today, I'm going to check in really quickly and I am going to share more real estate agent data. And the first thing that should leap out to you, if you by any chance listen to my Facebook Live on Wednesday, you're going to see that the data I used on Wednesday from Redfin is totally different than the data I'm going to use today, which is from Mike Del Preet, and he is using NAR data. The Redfin data was actually created through a survey of 1,000 agents. So what I think is that the data from NAR, which is actual data, is going to be much more realistic. So it's going to look different than the data before, but this is, I think, going to be a little better data. And Mike Del Preet, by the way, he is awesome, man. He has a free newsletter. You should subscribe. He spoke at Housing Wire. He killed it. He was probably the favorite speaker on day one. But here's the thing. I'm going to get right to the punchline because I'm going to shock anyone who's listening. Matter of fact, hopefully if you just check me out for a few minutes, you're going to get this next statistic. Now, I'm going to put it in the form of a joke, but it is not funny. And this is how it comes from, let's say the joke right from Mike's article or from his newsletter is, what is using the median or using the mean, how many transactions did the average real estate agent close last year? All right, using the mean, what number of transactions did the average real estate agent close last year? You know the answer? 0. That's right, 0. It's actually not quite 0. Statistically, it's a little bit above 0. But 47% of real estate agents did not close a transaction in the last 12 months. Nearly half. So if half is 0, 0 is the mean. Is that incredible? As we think about real estate agents and we think about our partnerships with them and we think about our long-term relationships with them, some good, some bad. Sometimes it's very healthy, super professional, great relationship. Sometimes it's less than that. But I just, every time as I keep hanging out with more realtors and talking to more realtors and reading more articles, I am very empathetic to a real estate agent's situation. And I can tell you, and I shared with you before, the general tone from real estate agents is they're tired of being used as a punching bag or as an Uber driver. Nothing against Uber drivers. You know what I mean? That they're the best of them are the best professionals in any industry, right? They're leading professionals. They do great work. They deserve their pay. They earn it. Now it's true some don't, but that doesn't mean we should cascade the entire industry. But it's just I don't know. It's heartbreaking that half of them didn't close a transaction. How in the world can you be in the business and not close any business, especially when you're 100% commission? Now, I will say though that it's not as bad as I just said because something like 26% of licensed agents actually work on teams, and so their production will fall underneath them. So it's really, half didn't close a transaction. It's probably not as bad as it seems because 26 of the 26%, not 26% of agents, 26% of the non-producing agents work on teams, which means 37% of non-team agents did not close a transaction. Isn't that incredible? And the article really is about churn. And what Mike Del Preet is writing about is, look, it's a really hard industry. Real estate's a really hard industry if 10% of your workforce turns over every year. 10%, right? And that's what the average churn is 10%. Now, this number is not real because this is net churn. So if I lose 20 agents, but I hire 18, I just lost 10%. But really, my churn was 20 agents, not 2, right? But in the statistic, they use the net. So the migration in the real estate world is incredible. And what Mike argues in his article, how in the world can you lead a company if you know 10% of your best people are going to leave every year? Or, it's actually more, but that's the net, right? Is that crazy? And here how it is. And there's some numbers. The lower the production you have, the more likely you are to leave. The lower your production, the more likely you are to leave, which makes total sense, doesn't it? And so if you think of it, 144,000 real estate agents in the last 12 months changed brokerages. 144,000. Is that incredible? Now, as everybody knows, there's about 1.5 million realtors in the United States, and that number is expected to go down to about a million. So there's going to be a pretty large exodus, out of the industry. Now, mostly it's going to be people with paper licenses. Those are people that hang licenses at brokerages just so they can refer a deal in and get paid a referral fee. They're called paper licenses. A lot of those 500,000 people are part-time. They're school teachers. They do something else for a living. They're housewives, whatever, or house husbands, but they don't really work full time. It's more like a hobby. So what's going to happen is going to boil down to the most serious people, but they estimate about 500,000 realtors are going to leave the business. Another interesting statistic is what's interesting is top producing agents that do $50 million or more a year, top producing agents, their churn is about 10%. So about 10% of the top agents change every year too. So kind of crazy, isn't it? The longer an agent has been in the industry, the less likely it is that they're going to leave. And if you look at the little table, I know you can't see this. This won't make no sense. This is if you've been right here, been in the business a long time. This is if you've been in the business a short time. The longer you're in the business, the less likely you are to leave. Matter of fact, agents who've been in the business over 20 years only leave about 5 or 6% of the time for every year, right? So really interesting. Now, another interesting statistic came from NAR. The bigger the brokerage, the higher the churn. So if you're one of those mega brokerages and you have over 500 agents, you actually have a lot of churn every year, and your churn is closer to 30%. It's really big, right? And the reason why is because you probably have a pretty big funnel or filter allowing almost anybody onto your platform, and if that's your standard, well, it's easy to see how you have a transitory population of agents. So that's the thing. This is so startling. You should say this every time you approach an agent. If you're a loan officer, every time you approach an agent, you should go, the average agent closes 0 deals a year. I can help this person. Or how can I help this person? How can I help this person get more deals? How can I help this person have a better living? How can I partner with them? How can we together help put people into homes and help people get the American dream, right? And that should be encouraging. That's the thing. Go out and serve these agents, and many of them are really terrific people, and they're really great professionals, and together we can do a lot of good work, helping people achieve the American dream and the related wealth from home ownership. That's what our passion is. We've never been needed more. There's all sorts of there's a ton of great articles today, really, really good stuff. I'm going to cover news and notes, all the notable news tomorrow at around 7:30. I'm looking forward to it. I got about 10, 15 articles locked and loaded. I'm going to try to get done on time. If you're interested in seeing Mike Del Preet's newsletter, I have it. I posted it on my LinkedIn this morning. I do a little bit of summary, and then there's a link to the newsletter. He writes great stuff. He was probably the best speaker from Housing Wire. I will also start posting some of the stuff from Housing Wire, which I hope you guys appreciate. In my post today, I posted 2 things this morning. One was Mike Del Preet's. The other thing was a really surprising statistic, which I'm not surprised at all, which is housing cost to income ratio has barely changed in the last 5 years, right? Does that sound counterintuitive? But I've been arguing, and if you follow me, you've heard me argue, and if you work with me for a long time, I'm a disciple of interest rates are relative. If interest rates are going up, it's because, for the most time, because there's inflation. Inflation is driven by wages, so wages are going up. So it doesn't matter really if interest rates go up, if your wages go up faster than interest rates, right? And so, I know the top line number seems fascinating, but the fact is, housing debt to income ratio has not really changed in 5 years. I posted that article this morning. Now, if we were sitting at a pub drinking a beer, we could debate all the reasons why. I get it. Some are positive, some are negative. Some this could be a false statistic, but it's something to use, right? And by the way, in this article and in this statistic, they use take-home pay. That's the deal. That's what I got going on. That's Friday. I give you a ton of good stuff. For the first time, I ran a little quick, which is great. Check me out on LinkedIn. Come back tomorrow, get more news and notes, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.